Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to American Reversion. I'm Steve Smith. It is time to start taking it to them, and I'll explain what I mean by that. I hope you all are doing well, by the way. Haven't been here for a little while. Just haven't felt the Zoom, you know. Been putting some stuff over on the Patreon channel, but I gotta feel it. But I feel it now, and I think it's coming. You know, I always thought that it's going to really start in January, because then we're in the year of the presidential election. But for me, it's starting right now. I just watched a couple of things that were great, and I love watching these things. One was by Tatum, that Officer Tatum. I don't know his first name. I don't watch him very much. I used to watch him. Kelly turned me on to him. I liked him. There were some things that turned me off about him a little bit, and then I really turned off when he was defending those do-nothing cops down in Uvalde. So I stopped watching him. But I stumbled across this, and I'm glad that I did, because he was speaking to a group, I think a group of students, whatever, and some lib came up with that peculiar mixture of superiority and smugness with miserableness, with misery. You know, don't all the libs look miserable, and yet they have this feeling of moral superiority and smugness, right? That only the truly ignorant have, because they don't know what they're talking about. But they think they do, you know. And you know, it's the universities, and it's the lack of parenting who won't straighten them out when they go to university. But anyway, he was talking, and this girl was talking to him about redlining and blah blah blah. Loved it. He handled her extremely well and explained it. Brought in some great resources, Thomas Sowell's book and other things. Anyway, it was fantastic. I've put that over on for anybody who wants to see it. I put it over on the Patreon channel. Worth a watch. You can find it yourself if you'd like. The second one was Charlie Kirk, and I don't know where it was, but it was obviously a university, and another little liberal girl came up and said and was challenging him on, America is a racist country. I think the first one had that. That was another. That's a common theme, isn't it? America is a racist country. Forget about the fact that we were the ones who ended slavery. We're the ones who, between us and Great Britain, even back in the day, put a first stop to the slave trade. Forget all that. Forget all the thousands of people who died, in defense of people's rights. These little people, these little entitled people that never did anything in their lives, but ran off to university and believed and swallowed all the pablum their communist instructors shoveled down their throats. So they get up and they're all morally superior and in their smugness. So she's challenging him as to why there is a disproportionate percentage of minorities, particularly blacks, in the prison system. And from there, she's going to go on and prove that that America is racist. Well, of course, Charlie Kirk comes back and he actually uses something that is unique, is unknown to the liberals, and that is truth, facts. Okay, that 40%, as she said, why if blacks are 13% of the, and I know we're going to get into uncomfortable territory here. Beware. Put on your uncomfortable cap for a second, okay? Because it's time we started talking about this very clearly, very plainly. Too many people just kind of hang back and don't want to say this out loud. So why, if blacks are 13% of the population, and if you realize that only about half of those are males, okay, so let's take that down to 6.5%. Why do they make up 40% of the U.S. prison population? Is it because of racism? Hell no, it's not. It's because they commit a disproportionate number of crimes. That's how you get into prison. You commit a crime. And there is no racism that forced these people to commit crimes. He also made the point that, well, since Asians are, there's very few Asians in prison, unless you go to the gangs. Does that mean that America is prejudiced against whites? Well, he uses all of the truth and the reasoning, and of course that our little lib standing up there, can't argue with, won't accept, won't learn from, and kind of goes off in a huff afterwards. But he calls them out on that, and then he says, well, why are they committing crimes at a disproportionate percentage? And he asks her a good question. Do you know what percent of black children, and I'm not going to use the word African American because they're not from Africa, okay? None of my black friends call themselves African American. They call themselves black, and they call me white. Not a single one of them has called me an English, Irish, Scottish, Swiss, Dutch American. Not a single one. And yet that rolls so easily off the tongue, right? So black and white. Let's call it black and white because, that's what we need to start doing, not just in racial, but we need to start addressing things black and white, and some things simply are. Oh yes, you see my American Reversion Cup there? These aren't available yet because we had a breakdown in equipment, but we've got new equipment, and I'll get them out as soon as I can. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. What percentage of black children are raised by two parents? Two natural parents? 25%. We know, don't we, or we should, that being raised by a single mother is a precursor to many, many problems. Okay, lower school attendance, lower graduation rates, a higher incidence of out of wedlock pregnancies and births and abortions, and a higher incidence of criminal behavior that lands their butts in the caboose. Okay, that's simply it. Did you know, interestingly, I'll throw this out too because most people don't know this, there have been studies that show that children raised by a single father are almost identical in life outcomes as those raised by a mother and a father. But those raised by single mothers have much higher incidences of, like I say, aberrant behavior. We could talk all day about why that might be, but that's not the point here. The point is that these are the things that cause it. Now, what caused that? And Charlie Kirk points us out, and rightly so. This was all the Great Society, Lyndon Baines Johnson. The Great Society, welfare programs. The government replaced the father. The father wasn't needed. As long as you had kids and didn't have a man in the house, you were going to get Uncle Sugar paying your bills. And then further rewarding you if you had more kids and with other social programs. Okay, you get free housing, free health care, free groceries, money for the kids. I know that. I worked the black ghettos for a long time. I saw this clear back in the 70s. You know that LBJ made the statement, and I won't use the word on here that he used. Many of you know this. He said, if we can get welfare passed, we'll have the N's, N-word, voting for us for generations. And it worked. He destroyed an entire segment of American society. Back in about 1960, 25% of black pregnancies were out of wedlock. Black births. I'm not sure if they counted all pregnancies. I don't think they figured in abortions back then. 25% of all black children were born without a father Well, they had a sperm donor, but they didn't have a father. They didn't have a dad in the home. 25%. Now that's amazingly high to begin with. In the white community, it was 5%. It is now between 25 and 30% in the society as a whole. And let me go back. No, the society as a whole was 5%, not the whites, which means that the whites, because when you include all the figures of the blacks, was much less than 5%. Okay, the vast majority. What are you talking? Probably 97, 98% of all white kids were born into a two-parent household. Okay, only 75% of black kids were, but 75% is a lot more than now. Now 25%. So now, society-wide, about 25 to 30%, the last that I read. It could have changed in the last couple of years. I haven't checked the figure. Doesn't matter. The disparity is what's important. Are born without a father. 25 to 30%. In the black community, it's over 75%. Last I heard, 77%. 23%. 1/4 of black kids are born into a two-parent home where the parents both are there to raise them. For the most part, I assume, stay off of drugs and stay out of jail. How do you begin? Now, I've known some. I have friends who came out of that and are doing very well. They are the exceptions. You can imagine how hard it would be coming out of that and making anything of yourself. It was the plan of the Democrats, of the liberals, to destroy a whole segment of society, the black segment, and to assure a voting bloc for generations, and they succeeded. Now, more and more blacks are getting hip. They're saying, wait a minute. These Democrats, they've been lying to us, and they've been keeping us down. They talk about helping us. Everything that they do hurts us. So more and more people are realizing it, and more people are being vocal about it. But here's what you have to do, and I have to do more. We have to be more vocal about these things, and we have to be ready to take it to them, and take it to them with facts. Now, this can be uncomfortable, and nice people don't like to be uncomfortable, right? I don't mind being, it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all because I'm outspoken. But people who are socially nicer than me, it makes them uncomfortable if they're engaged in a conversation with somebody who has a differing opinion, different political opinion, and that lib is spouting off all sorts of idiocies, that are totally false. The average conservative person will just kind of go, smile. Well, that's certainly something, I don't know. That's what's got us to this position. That's what's got us to this point. That is what's caused the collapse of this country, is the good people not standing up and telling the truth. I'll tell you a story. I used to have a gym in a college town, and it was very successful. The programs were so good that more people stopped going to the college. The government subsidized. They were very proud of their exercise programs. Well, I designed programs that were a lot better, and more people started joining my gym. And the people down at the physical education department at the university hated me. And of course, all the people who were phys ed majors down there hated me too. But anyway, they started lying about me and my programs and my gym. And the people that I had working for me were nice people. And they weren't really engaging in when people were lying about us. They wouldn't go out and defend it. They just came to work and then left. They were good people. But what I explained to them one time is I said, listen, these people are trying to destroy us by lying. All you have to do is tell the truth. And I have trained you very well so that you can tell the truth. You know what you're talking about, and you need to engage these people as they spout their lies. Engage them, because this is how we fight back. Most of them I couldn't get to do it, and as a result, it really had a detrimental effect on my business. So the government, they cause problems there. It's the same thing here. They lie. All you have to do is tell the truth. But you have to know the truth, and then you have to be willing to get out there and say it. You have to have the spine, the guts, the chutzpah to get out there and actually engage with these people who are spouting their idiocy and come back with the truth. It's not only going to you may not convince them, although, I'll tell you another story from my gym. I got a letter from a girl. The training that they had to go through was very difficult. I had a girl wash out of the training. And she was training to be a fitness instructor. And I talked a lot about politics. I used my business as a venue to promote my political views, which were correct. See? There's a difference between right and wrong. It's not a matter of opinion. Right's right, wrong's wrong. And she washed out. I didn't see her. A couple years later, I get a letter from her. She had gone to another university, a larger university. It was quite a detailed letter. I thought that I'd kept it. I have no idea where it is. She said, "Dear Mr. Smith," I won't try to recreate it in my mind. Here's the deal. She said that when she listened to me talk about my political views in the training and how it applied because it had to do with the difference between success and failure. And that applied to them. She says, "I thought you were all wet because you were saying things that were totally different than I'd ever heard before. The more I listened to you," she said, "the more it made sense." She says, I continued to think about this. I started studying about this. She says, I am now the founder and president of the Republican Club at the new university. She went on to thank me for all that. See, it can happen. It will happen. It may not always happen right away. You won't beat that person in that argument that's going on right now. And it shouldn't be don't let it elevate to an argument. Make it a discussion. You always stay nice, come back with facts. Make them look stupid. That's what you have to do. Make them defend their positions while you share the truth. It may have a long-term effect on them, but I'll tell you who it will have a long-term, a more immediate effect on: the people who hear it, the people who are around, and there are usually people around. And it gives these people something else. Your silence emboldens them, right? All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke, right? All that is necessary for idiocy to triumph is for good men and women to keep their mouths shut. True? Right. So it's time. We need to engage them. We need to take it to them every minute that we're out there. Don't think, oh, they're so stupid. I'm not even going to talk to them. That's the easy way out, but it's not the right way out. So anyway, that's my message today. I think I'm back with it. But watch those. Whether you come over to Patreon to watch it or whether you just find them on your own, doesn't matter. Officer Tatum and Charlie Kirk, I don't know what the titles of it were, and I don't even know if they were recent. So it could be their most recent one. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But there are a lot of things like that. And realize if you want to turn this country back around, and we are seeing some victories. We are, if you're paying attention. If we're going to turn this thing around, it's going to be because we engaged. You can't turn around a game that you're losing by staying off the field. Okay? So get on the field, prepare yourself, know what you're talking about, engage these people. Don't allow them to hide in the shade of your non-engagement, okay? Because our country, this country, needs a reversion. It needs to go back to the way things were meant to be, or it will collapse completely. And the final choice we have is not pretty. You all have a good day. It's good to be back with you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hey, make sure, if you would, share this. Share this. And make sure that you give me a thumbs up if you like what I said. If you don't. But leave a comment and share it. And make sure that you're subscribed. Okay? YouTube's playing games. Make sure that you're subscribed. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.